Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our friends across the world. This is Purple Sway 22 coming at you live from the metaverse with my good buddy, Style Pigeon. How's it going, my
Hey,
dude?
everybody. I'm waving at my own camera. We're in VR. Tell them why we're in VR today, John.
Well, so we were feeling a little bored. The bear market was getting to us. We wanted to spice things up a little bit. And so we thought, hey, let's do an episode from the metaverse together. So we're going to be talking about digital identity today, while we're also playing one of our favorite metaverse games, Walkabout Minigolf. So I'm really stoked. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. There's tons of putters to choose from. We have tons of golf balls to be able to choose from.
I'm getting
I'm going to take
distracted. I need to close this door real quick. Sorry.
a nice purple ball.
Yeah, so this is one of our favorite games, and I've actually got a screen pulled up so I can kind of keep track of what's going on the side. So if y'all haven't gotten into VR yet and you're just getting into Bitcoin, we're introducing people to Bitcoin and VR at the same time at this point. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that VR, AI, and Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain technology really fall into like this one tech bucket overall.
Yeah.
In my mind. It's like the three primary new techs that are coming out that I'm paying attention to.
Mhm.
And so that's part of the reason why we do all of this overlap. And if you want to ever tune in on Wednesday nights, we do actually play every Wednesday in this game with the Bitcoin Badgers. So those
We
are
love
always
it.
good, fun conversations to snag a little bit of alpha and just have fun on a Wednesday night. So why don't you tell them about the sponsor real quick, and then we'll jump into digital IDs.
Yeah, totally.
Flash calls.
So Gingerly is sponsored by our good friends at Roundly X. They are a simple to use dollar cost averaging app where you can round up your everyday purchases and it goes into Bitcoin or whatever crypto you're trying to save. I use them to pay off my Subaru back in the day, which is super cool. And I just use them to stack sats daily. So if you're in the US, check out the roundups. If you're outside of the US, they have an idea bumps engine, which is basically just market alerts to let you know what big crypto dollar cost average into. And we're super thankful for them for designing or paying for the design for our show intro. And we've got a special sign up code. If you use the title of our show, Gingerly, to sign up to Roundly X, you get $15 in Bitcoin. So do that. Check them out. And let's pop into some golf here, Pigeon.
Hell yeah. Who doesn't love some free Bitcoin? Yeah, I'll take free Bitcoin any day of the week.
So will
personally.
I. Absolutely.
Okay, so I am first here. Let me make sure that Nick's good. Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Paul's in the
Paul,
house.
what's up?
Oh, you got your chat up too?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, well,
I've
I do
got a
need
virtual
to.
screen mounted over here.
I like to put it like directly above me
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll do that too and make it a
because
little
I can
bigger.
have it kind of nice and close to me as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that I can read it easily. But that's just me. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I don't have the thing pulled up. I want you to tell me about digital IDs, homie.
Yeah,
What,
totally. So
what's a digital ID? While I
so
put
all
here.
of us, I think, are pretty familiar with the concept of a digital ID. If you just don't think about blockchain and such, like um, we all use, or most of us use Google Pay or like Apple Pay, or or even like log in with Google. You know what I mean? Like when you go to a website and you click sign in and you
Or
click
you have
sign
a
in with Google.
profile.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what we're talking about when we talk about digital IDs. It's
Oh my
your
god.
dude, come on, get with
Okay,
it.
okay. I'm thinking about digital IDs and trying to put it at the same time. All right.
This is why we did this. This is going to be entertainment for today. Um,
Watch me completely screw up Tourist Trap, the easiest map or one of the easiest maps in the game.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so a digital ID is basically like your Google Chrome profile would be a very rudimentary example, right?
yeah, totally. And I would say, like even your banking information is mostly digital ID these days, right? Because most of us bank online. We're not going into a physical bank anymore. So there's all of this information that's floating out on the interwebs that represents who we are as people. Um, and the ideas behind Bitcoin and blockchain and all that kind of stuff is the decentralized ethos, or taking the middlemen out, right?
Yeah.
And ID really needs that, because right now all of our information is so segmented across all these platforms. We really don't own any of our information anymore. Like companies own them.
Right, right. It's always, and this is what trips me out really when I even start getting into tech at all, is that, all of these tech companies like Facebook or okay,
Woo,
actually,
too hard.
a good example is video games. So the the thing with video games is, let's say I have a character, right? I'm playing Diablo and I have this character and I put all of this work into this character. And then at the end of the life cycle of that game, that was close, a little hard. At the end of the life cycle of that game, they just turn off the servers,
Right. Yeah, and
and
that's done.
all of my work, like I might have put 2,000, 3,000 hours into this game, and now it's just gone. So as a beginner stepping into blockchain, how do I get to the point where I not only understand what exactly my digital ID is and where it lives,
Yeah.
but how do I make it more secure overall? Like, what do I actually need to know if I'm just getting started?
That's a great question. And honestly, I would say that digital, like decentralized
Yay.
IDs, aren't where we want them to be yet.
Oh, you disappeared. There you
The
go.
tech just doesn't exist. So while before we decided to play Walkabout Golf, I was giving Nick some links before the show, and we were going to talk about um, Vinny Lingham's project. If you've been in crypto for any length of time, he was working on a project called Civic, which basically was going to be like your digital passport. Public and private keys were associated. If you've watched the show any length of time, we talk about the difference between public and private. Basically, the idea is going to be you have this little ID that's an app on your phone, and you can choose what information to expose to people, but they can't see any of the other sensitive information about you, right? So it was allowing ownership of identification, allowing selective viewership of that you could also then revoke after the fact because of the nature of blockchain,
Oh.
right? And so, but unfortunately, the way that the market worked, it didn't seem like there was enough funding for that sort of thing. Bad putt.
Oh, unlucky.
And Civic kind of pivoted to be more of a B2B service provider. And so they are basically offering another solution like login with Google. Developers can install a login with Civic option onto their website where they can still do that decentralized, like I'm only
Murder.
choosing to expose X amount of information for a certain amount of time. But
Okay.
the problem with that is that you have to have this particular program integrated, Civic, right? And very
Right,
few
right.
people do at this
Right,
point.
right. So it's like it's weird how a lot of these things are like, we're trying to build a public service, but we need money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's also there's another big problem with
Not a
ID
bad
at this
shot.
point, and that is that government controls a large amount of it, right? And so a
Sure,
private
sure.
company can come along and say, we're going to decentralize identity, and that's cool and all, but it's a voluntary system that isn't nationally recognized at this point? So how do we get it to
Oof.
be how do we get it to be in a place where the government wants to use this new decentralized ID service,
So
right?
let me ask you this question. With Bitcoin and blockchain technology being on the rise, we're really promoting more and more individual sovereignty, right? So we're kind of in the middle of the fix the money, fix the world equation, right? We haven't fixed the money yet. And
No, we
so
haven't.
government and individual sovereignty are still at odds with each other to some large extent. So is digital ID like genuine, like the utopian version of digital ID? That's really, we have to wait until Bitcoin is the standard to some extent, or until money is decentralized in a big enough way that we no longer have such centralized governing forces, right?
Well, I think that's an interesting point, and I think you're right to some degree. But what concerns me is the fact that okay, I want to take some time real quick before I move on and point out chat has been mentioning Digibyte having Digi-ID, and they're doing something very similar to what Civic is doing that's more active, and allows you to expose information based off of the collected information that you have in your Digibyte wallet. So there's definitely some good decentralized communities out there building, but on the opposite side of that coin, ha ha ha, there are
Bitcoin fun.
nefarious forces at work like China or like WorldCoin who want to take this blockchain information and really make the centralized information much more dangerous to the average individual.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like social credit score systems and things like that
yeah,
that we
yeah,
talk about where your whole identity is now officially owned by the government. And not only that, because that's been the case for most of history, right? But not only
yes,
that, now they can also do whatever they want to with that information, and they're at Web 2 with tyranny, right? They
yeah,
can read and write at
yeah.
that point. Yeah, that's Web 2 tyranny. Wow, you heard it here first, folks. Web 2 tyranny, brand new term.
I like it. I like
Um,
that. But now we're taking the next step to Web3 tyranny. So we watched that video 2 weeks ago on our show of the lady in China who was being blocked. Good shot. Let's
thank you,
go.
sir.
Hole in one. Come
Maybe
on, baby.
not enough.
Ah, close.
Oh well.
The lady in China who was not allowed to buy groceries because her digital identity wasn't being confirmed at the point of checkout.
Right.
Um, oh, we hit it. Let's
Nice
go.
shot, dude. Let's go. Did you get it? You got a little more steam than me.
Oh, almost.
Still not enough.
But that's the big problem. It's like we're now going to have a system where you were just talking about read and write, Web 2 tyranny. When you add read, write, and own, if individuals aren't owning their ID, that means that either governments or corporations are owning your ID and
Which
they
means they're
have
owning you.
absolute control over it.
Yeah, which means like what's it called when somebody owns another person?
I would call that slavery, Pigeon.
Me too. Oh, that's way too much. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh no,
Oh, no.
it's
Ah,
like
too much.
Adesanya last night. Just came out a little bit too quick, got cocky. Oof.
Yeah, there's lots of negative sentiment about WorldCoin in the chat right now.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, WorldCoin sucks. WorldCoin is problematic at this
Oh,
point,
sorry, I'm looking
and
at
it's
the
still
ceiling.
very early. I agree. It's still very early. I think it's early in decentral IDs in general. Um, but like I said, and like you pointed out earlier, like maybe we just have to wait for a Bitcoin standard or for, people
Right.
to realize like, oh, we should care about this. But the problem right now is that governments have realized that they should care about it sooner than the populace.
Right.
And things like WorldCoin are going to enable China to be even more dystopian and like big brother surveillance state than they already are, which is saying something, man, because China's a mess. Ah, almost.
Yeah, yeah, and all of this really just to prevent or to keep the tyrant at bay, so to speak. We all are, hopefully, if you've read your history books, you know that governments do actually tend towards tyranny over time. Maybe that's an opinion, but that's what like has happened.
Yeah.
So whether it's an opinion or not doesn't really
Opinion
matter to
based on
me.
history.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, you can interpret history differently. That's fine, but that's
Yeah, yeah.
my view. Is typically, you know, you the typically bureaucracies in general grow and grow and grow until they get completely unsustainable, and eventually they become tyrannical. It's not even the people that are
Aw,
involved. I don't think. I think it's just a natural thing that happens with large organizations like that. We notice it with corporations like Facebook and Google. It's like, why does Google have like a 90% plus market share
right,
for their sector? Like, what is that? That's not a monopoly. Why is that not being split up? Right.
right. No, that's a
Um,
really good question. Good
so
shot.
things like that happen naturally. So we're looking at blockchain, I think, to be kind of a technological solution to some of that tyranny creep, so that we can more decentralize sovereignty overall uh, into posterity, right? So
Mm,
that's why we're covering this. For I always try to remember why we're here, and the name of the show is Gingerly, right? We're trying to gingerly introduce people to blockchain and Web3 tech, and now VR apparently. um,
yeah, well, so I wanted to comment on that too. I think, big props to everyone who stuck with our show and watched us this far. I know there are some of y'all who do religiously watch Gingerly, and I appreciate that. That's freaking awesome.
yeah,
But I feel
huge.
like we were both me and Pigeon both were kind of phoning it in a little bit. Like, it didn't feel as fun as it was at the beginning because we've covered a lot of stuff. And, once you cover a lot of stuff and the market's boring and, it can be a little drudgy. And if we're not enjoying it, I mean, I highly doubt that other people are going to enjoy it as much as we do. So, you know, I think adding a spice of VR and just showing y'all that there's some different tech out there that's worth
Oh,
exploring is a fun part of the show. Um, and then also keeping it ginger, keeping it
yeah.
gingerly introducing people to topics. If we're just looking at a camera and talking through an outline, it's really easy for me to get way over my head into stuff and like get
Yeah.
really esoteric. But like doing something like golf requires us to maybe think a little simply so that we can talk and golf at the same time. And yeah, I guess you can think of it as like playing with ankle weights,
Yeah,
thus the
yeah, no,
metaverse.
100%. And y'all let us know in the chat if this is a fun format for y'all, or if this is like,
It sucks.
if it's making you queasy or something. Like, let us know. You know what I mean? Because
We
we
want to
want to
experiment.
have fun with y'all and enjoy it. And this is all for people who absorb this content. Our objective is to provide value. So, um, okay, so I feel like we've answered the question why digital IDs. Like, what is a digital ID? Why do we care about it? It's to keep the
Right.
tyrant at bay and to keep your information secure because you don't want someone else owning you.
Right.
Um, that's important, right? We talk about, I mean, like identity theft is a problem, right? Identity is valuable.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's so easy these days. Like everyone has been hacked in the Web 2 world at this point,
oh,
you
nice
know.
shot, dude. Oh,
Thank
that
you.
was online. A little bit more, and you're in.
Everyone's been hacked at this point. Experian, like all this information is available. The thing that has kept us safe up until this point, in my opinion, is the fact that there's so much data out there that hackers literally had to just go line by line and be like, now I'm going to try Pigeon's data, now I'm going to try
Right.
Paul's data, now I'm going to try Nick's data, and hope that it works. But now we have LLMs, large language models, and machine learning that can comb through that stuff super fast, which is why I think we're seeing a rise in larger exploits. So
Oh, I
that
took the
leads
hard
to
mode
my
shot.
next point of this conversation, which is what can you be doing practically with your digital identity right now while we wait on these solutions, right? Because
Okay.
yeah. So do you have any suggestions for the viewers, Pigeon?
Well, so one thing is, um, so I'm not actually good at this. I'm not very well versed on cybersecurity, and I don't do as good of a job of it as I ought to.
I think it's
But
good
what
that you
that
know that.
so yeah, one, it's good that I know that that's the truth. And two, I think that gives me a tendency to be a little bit of a luddite when in doubt, right? Like,
Oh,
if yeah, I know that was close. If I don't know what I'm doing, I just don't do it. Like, I back off of it, right?
I'm the same way
And
actually.
and I think that's the way to be, but you just have to continually, like, oh, okay, what's going on with this? And so for me, this whole journey starts with um like looking out for when I swipe my debit card at the gas station, the little card readers, right? Like being aware that it's possible for people to collect your data off of your debit card. Like, okay, how does that work? Well, I learn a little bit about that, and then I start being more careful with what I do with my debit card. Like,
Right.
uh, debit cards are not cash, right? It's linked to. It's actually really inefficient cryptocurrency, is what it is. Um,
Yeah,
as
you're
far
right.
as its function, that's actually how it works, right? It's just a
Yeah.
digital number that gets exchanged on a ledger. It's
Right.
just there's 16 middlemen in the way.
Yeah.
Um, like, that's why crypto to begin with, right? We're just trying to fix the current financial technology.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So as I become more and more aware, I just start having those thoughts where it's like, okay, how could someone get my crypto wallet, my private keys or something, right? Like, what are the access points? Okay, let me shore up this access point. Like, log out all of the time. Little things like that I'm picking up along the way that are very, very helpful and actually are pretty effective at securing my identity um, in the long run.
Yeah, so, I think you're on the right track, like, being aware, taking time to learn about what scams are out there, doing some research. Paul even mentioned something in chat that I think is a great point that I'm about to lead up to. So Vitalik just recently had his Twitter hacked.
Oh, sorry.
Um, and I would just recommend there's really easy things that you can do to upgrade your digital identity. And one is use two-factor authentication through an authenticator app. And
Yep.
even better, like I haven't done this myself yet, but using something like a physical authenticator, like a YubiKey, is even better. So basically, we've gotten caught up in this whole exchange of convenience for security.
Yes.
And that's why we're in the places that we are. And some people are like, oh, I don't use 2FA because it slows me down and it's so much more difficult to log into stuff. Well, you know what? That's the point. The reason that Vitalik's Twitter was compromised most likely is because he wasn't using a good authenticator app to back up his Twitter.
And he's
It's
a target.
that
He's like an
simple.
obvious target.
He's a super obvious target. So, and like, if you think, oh, well, that's Vitalik, like, people aren't going to care about me. Let me tell you something. That's a hole in one. And also, let me tell you that it doesn't matter how big you are. Your information is publicly available. They're going to come after you eventually just by virtue of process of elimination. They came after me in 2017. I didn't think that I was big enough. I didn't have that much crypto at the time. And I got SIM swapped.
Dude, I'm sorry. Did you just hole in one that?
Yeah. Check it out.
Dude. Bounce off the? Dang, man. I even tried to do a similar shot. I was like, I'm going to ricochet it off the... Oh, but I went a little too hard and a little too far. All right. Wow. Okay. Sorry. Please continue. There is talk in the chat about GovernorDAO. I don't even really know what GovernorDAO is because I saw all the links and everything that we were exchanging, but I haven't delved into them quite as well. Is that a branch of this conversation?
So I don't actually know GovernorDAO actually either, Nick. We'll have to share that link under the stream afterwards because I'd like to find out more about them myself.
It's nice to be at the beach on a day like today.
Ah, dang it. Yes, indeed. Super chill. Man, we absolutely flew through this level. I didn't realize that. It's only been 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, we have been. Okay, so sorry I'm looking at the blue sky, but I'm actually looking at a window that's invisible. I'm looking at... Oh, wait. Can you go back to governance or GovernorDAO? Nick, sorry.
Yeah,
I just saw that you had it up, so I wanted to...
at the screen. That's why we're looking at the sky. Because we have virtual screens mounted up in the air.
Your users deserve better governance proof of existence, Web3 consulting. Okay, so eliminate value extraction from your Web3 existence. Interesting. Okay, cool. So I'll have to read a little bit more about what exactly they can do. Maybe we do some Twitter follow-up on that, John.
Yeah, that's a good point. That sounds fascinating.
Actually get into it.
And that's actually a good point. So maybe this reminds me, a good part of digital identity is making sure that you have a clean internet footprint. And I could do a better job about this for sure.
Okay.
Come on. Oh, so close.
It was unfortunate. Way left.
But thinking about do I have selfies posted? Do I have material posted from more than 2 years ago when maybe my views weren't where they should be? Or I don't know. Is there anything that someone might try and cancel me over? And or even have services scrape the internet and find where you have data that has been leaked, and then they can help you clean that information off the internet to help you have more of an anonymous presence. I don't think that these days it's typically possible to be completely anonymous unless you are super careful and never allow a photo or information of your children to be posted online. I think that's something that needs to be heard. I'm going to have a kid here soon, and my kid will be anonymous on the internet. And it's a superpower. And as parents, you have the choice to give your child that gift. And I think more parents should be super anal about that. Yes, does my mom hate it? Yeah, she does. She hates the fact that she's not going to be able to post pictures of her grandkid, but that's going to keep my kid much more safe in the next 20, 30 years. So parents, think about that. That's super important.
I wish I could go backwards and do a little bit more of that myself.
I do too. Yeah, honestly.
But I just didn't know. I had no idea how much of a big deal it was going to be. And it's just a lack of foresight. And that's kind of, what we're trying to do with these sorts of conversations is like, let's have a little bit of foresight. What can we do to be safer overall? And I mean, it's the exact same thing. If you're a boating enthusiast or something, you buy the nice life jacket,
Right. Yeah.
because you're on the boat on a regular basis. Don't do it, John. Don't do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do
All
it.
right.
I'm going to try it once. Just
All right.
once.
Let's see if he can shortcut this. Dude, if you do it, oh my gosh. That looks good.
Too much.
Bounces out. Not
Dang
enough
it. I thought I had it. Oh, well.
That's a good line.
Okay.
Gotta have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Unlike me.
Yeah, okay. So Paul makes a really good point. I'd like to read this out. So,
Okay.
maintaining privacy is so key. Most people don't realize how open they are by being so public. Digital ID can help remove some of the information that we make public. 100% agreed, Paul. Thanks for that. Like, basically, the point of blockchain and cryptocurrency and decentralization, like I said earlier in the show, is taking ownership back for things that was taken from us in the Web 2 era. Like companies realized that they could, borrow, quote unquote, or just take our information by having us agree to, terms and conditions that just allow them to take all of our data. And there wasn't anything we can do about it, really. It's like remain a Luddite, don't use technology,
Yeah.
or give up your information. And like, thankfully, with Protonmail, with various different security, like secure Signal or like Telegram, even there are steps you can take to be more secure. But typically, operating on the internet just means you're giving up data. So,
Yeah.
blockchain is the next step in trying to take some of that back, because it's not right for corporations to own personal information about us. I think that's important to say too. Like, morally, companies don't have a right to your identification information.
Right. Yeah. No, 100% agreed. And it's one of the big pieces of value that I think we do bring to the table in just talking about this stuff is it hasn't been said, right? It has to be said, just like the thing about keeping your kids anonymous on the internet. It
Yeah.
has to be said because otherwise nobody hears about it, right?
Yeah, that's
And if
true.
nobody's hearing about it, and I was even thinking about it with terms like decentralization and digital identity. Like these are not terms, if I go to work, I just work at a random pharmaceutical sales company, or
Yeah.
we manufacture and sell pharmaceuticals rather. And if I were to just mention to a random employee, like, oh yeah, how's your digital identity and your digital anonymity?
Right.
They'd be like, well, like, what are you talking about?
What
Like,
does that
this
even
is-
mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't even know those words, right?
Right.
And it's not that they don't know the words; they just don't really know the meaning of those words in that context, right?
Right.
But if I start talking about decentralization, I mean, it's become a meme at my workplace now that it's like, don't talk to Taylor about anything related to money because he's going to say something about fiat.
That's awesome. No, that's what we want. At least people are thinking about it now.
Right. And you know what's funny is nobody ever disagrees with me in those awkward conversations. They give me the like, yeah, like we know. And it's like, okay, well, but but you're just like not doing anything about it. Like,
Yeah. What's
that's
up with
completely unacceptable. So I'm gonna actually step to the side here so I can see your big head.
that?
We're
Yeah.
huge. We're
So isn't this cool? We
huge.
can see the whole course from up here.
Yeah. This is such a fun game, and we actually do like meetings and things in here if we're discussing the direction of Gingerly or
Yeah.
working on we're invested in a project together we want to talk about or something. We always come here and do it because it's such a great format to do it in sort of like not an intoxicated way. Like they say, do the negotiation sober and then do the negotiation again
Right.
when you're drunk.
Yeah.
And then you'll normally get to like more of a consensus overall.
Right.
This is like distract us from the big conversation that we're having so that we can actually have that conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally. Exactly right.
so more practical things will be in chat and in the tweets to come, because we're going to continue to look into this, and we'll probably do a follow-up episode at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not in mini golf, but anyways, let's go to the main
yeah,
menu.
let's do it. We'll go back to the little shack.
Oh, there he is.
Cool. Cool. So I had a blast. Chat, you can let us know how that experience was in terms of watching us golf while we talk about things. I feel like we made some really good points that we might not have made if we were just doing the standard form gingerly.
Yeah,
So I think
I agree.
that's pretty cool. I was talking to Pigeon before we started this, and I would love to do another episode. Maybe we can show y'all some. Well, we show you the courses. There's lots of different backdrops that we can do. They have, like cowboy places. They have Candyland, a world that's completely upside down, a laser lair. They recently did like an elf kingdom, which is amazing, that we're going to play probably later tonight. But one conversation that I would love to have is about dollar cost averaging your health. And I know if you're in chat right now, you definitely hear me talk about this all the time. But me and Pigeon have been just really serious the last couple months about dollar cost averaging our health. Pigeon's made some really big life changes. I'm going to have a kid soon, and I want to be like a Spartan dad when my kid is born. So I've been, working hard. And we were thinking about how we got there. And in my opinion, it's largely due to the ethos behind the Bitcoin ecosystem. And I think that's pretty dang fascinating. So I'd love to talk about how we took the journey from Bitcoin to being super in shape.
Well, I think we're only at the half hour mark. I say we queue up another easy course that we know of.
It's only we're only
keep
40
rolling.
minutes
I'd like to actually talk about identity a little bit more.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
So I'm going to give you an option: Arizona or Gothic.
Let's do Arizona.
Okay, cool. Oh gosh, I'm so glad to take you guys with us on these journeys through like random VR tech and all of this stuff. This is so much fun for us, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. With the identity question, so I don't know if you know this, John, but actually after college, I started a little think. Oh, damn, I started a little think group. A little group of thinkers that would get together on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to answer questions specifically about identity and what identity was. Good shot.
Thank you. That's cool.
And it didn't work out very well, to be honest, mainly because one of the members slept with my wife. But regardless of that, regardless of what ended up happening with that organization, we had a lot of fun actually discussing that problem specifically, because it's like, especially at that age, you're fresh out of college, and really I think people experience this tumultuous relationship with themselves for far more frequently now than we used to. Just because life is so easy in a lot of ways. It's so easy that it's become hard, weirdly. And I think a lot of that has to do with identity, like finding yourself. So to share my recent identity story that I'll tie back into Bitcoin. So I actually quit smoking cigarettes recently as of July 16th, or sorry, June 16th. My birthday is actually June 17th. Oops, doxed myself. That's information that you don't need to have.
Come on, man. We're talking about digital ID and protecting your identity. What's wrong with you?
Okay, pro tip, don't use your birth date in your passwords, okay? Very solved.
Yeah.
Come on,
True.
people. And that's such a stupid healthcare thing. Like, I need your birth date before I can give you your meds. Like, okay, what does that mean? Who cares about your birth date? Regardless. So for my birthday, I was like, I'm going to quit smoking. That's my gift to myself. And part of the reason that I did that was because the whole ethos around Bitcoin has become such a big part of my identity. I'm so much about that sort of like, let's break free from the matrix mentality now. And I really wanted to break free from the matrix that I was stuck in with cigarettes, because I was an addict, right? I was behaving like an addict. I basically destroyed a major relationship in my life, a romantic relationship in my life, over nicotine. And what in the I've never in my life seen that
I haven't either. That was bizarre.
Wow, it just went straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to not do that.
Cool. Yeah, don't copy me. There you go. That's it. Good shot. Are you gonna make it?
Maybe.
Oh, we made it! Hole in
Hole in
one
one on stream. What's up?
Let's go,
What's up,
Pigeon.
fam?
Second
All right.
hole in one, brah.
So I got into this Bitcoin ethos and everything, and started thinking about dollar cost averaging specifically. Ooh, nice shot. And it drops. Okay, nice. Good job. That was high intensity. So the investment strategy of dollar cost averaging led me to, start taking things day by day as an addict, and just like, I just need to not smoke today.
Yeah.
And I ended up being able to quit cold turkey because of that ethos being so well drilled into my head.
Well, that sucks.
Thanks to you. And no, man, I mean, it's good. I'm glad
No,
that I
no,
was
I
able
meant
to.
that shot that I just took.
Sorry. I got you.
No, but yeah. I mean, and yeah, it's been super encouraging. I mean, that's how I've been approaching my workout as well. I mean, but quitting smoking cold turkey is no small feat, man. I mean, that's a big deal. So I mean, there must be something to this Bitcoin ethos, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a very similar ethos to what established, individual sovereignty in Western civilization in general to begin with. Like, I really think it's the same thing. And that, like, that dollar cost averaging mindset has also led me to the dollar cost averaging my health mindset. And that's something that I've been doing. Like yesterday, man, it was raining here yesterday. Oh, God, it was awful. Because I was like, I'm gonna go play disc golf today, and then it was raining like at the exact window that I wanted to go play. And disc golf is a pretty good activity because it's basically like a fun excuse to go hiking.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very active, and like I'm definitely about to injure my right shoulder from throwing too hard. Like it's an absolute blast, but it drives a lot of activity for me right now. And my running buddy is also sick at the moment. So I'm having to like find activities because I can't just go run 8 miles or whatever necessarily. And it's become it's crazy to me how quickly it has become a necessary part of my day to work out I thought maybe when that was not the case 6 months ago at all. 6 months ago, I was sitting at my computer 12 hours a day at least, if not more, and just like being lazy. And the crazy thing about all of this transition has been how much it's helped my mindset overall. Like it's so perpetually moving forward. It's a perpetual motion machine. Okay, all right. Chat, y'all pay attention to this. This is how you do it.
Yeah, here we go. The secret sauce.
Oh no!
Oh,
I hit it too
no.
hard.
Too hard.
I set it up
Dang
too. All right, can you do it?
It's this one right here, right?
Yeah, it's like right here.
Okay, here we go. Let's try it.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Boom!
Nice, dude. Let's go. Good
Third
shot.
hole in one for the show. Let's
Good shot.
go.
Is that the
Showing
first
up
time
and
you've done
showing
that
out.
hole in one?
No, I've hit it before.
Okay, because I know you're always frustrated by this one.
No, it is. New hole record. You're right. It was the first time.
Oh, dude, sick.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So
Wow,
Paul's saying that he's at 10,000 steps a day on the monthly time frame, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Paul's
That's
an absolute
awesome,
legend. So I gotta, you were talking earlier in the show about terminology like, decentralization and anonymity and digital identity and all this stuff. And I think that it's super important to take a second and clarify with dollar cost averaging. Basically, all we're talking about, it's not anything ultra fancy. All
Good
dollar
shot.
cost averaging means is putting in minimal amounts. So it's an investment term, right? So
Yep.
you decide, I'm going to put in the same amount of money at a regular interval constantly, like no matter what happens in the market. So for me, for a long time, like that meant I got paid every 2 weeks. and I was working a sales job, so I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was drinking like an energy drink every day. And I was like, you know what? If I don't drink an energy drink every day and cut back on this, I can put $5 of Bitcoin into basically. And so I calculated that up and I was like, I'm going to stop drinking energy drinks and I'm going to put that amount of Bitcoin in every 2 weeks. So that's dollar cost averaging. And that's sort of like, it doesn't matter what happens in the market. Today, you're going to have more Bitcoin because you're taking the time to save.
And
That
so
is really powerful from a mental perspective for humans because it eliminates emotional back and forth.
Right. Yes. It's the like systems thinking. It's like, what do I do in the morning? Well, like, okay, so I've got another good example. Good shot, dude.
Thank you.
One of the things that I train people how to sell pharmaceuticals, and we always say, you know, there's really two things that actually contribute to positive. Oh wow, that was bad.
No.
That was a mistake because I was thinking about stuff. There's two things that contribute to positive movement in pharmaceutical sales. It's messaging, which is just, you know, what you say to people, and then there's
Right.
also territory management. So we have to think about territory management from an efficiency standpoint, because if you've got, you know, 1,200 doctors that you're supposed to be talking to, how do you make sure you call them at the right intervals,
Right.
and make sure you follow up with everybody? That's territory management, right? And so what I teach people is, well, don't think about it. You don't need to think about it, right? You don't need to come in every single day, sit down at your desk and go, okay, who do I want to call today? Oh, I
Right.
just saved Eagle off of a bad drive.
Yeah, you did.
Did you albatross that?
Yeah, I did.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, not hard enough. Oh well.
So territory management, we convert that idea over to dollar cost averaging, right?
Yeah.
I'm dollar cost averaging essentially my communication with various doctors' offices, right? That's what that
Yeah.
territory management is. Well, the same thing applies to, you know, health and fitness and investment, right? I don't want to have to think about this because
Right.
I'm not very good at thinking. So
Yeah.
instead, I'm going to think about it once, but deeply, and go, okay, do I believe in this or not?
Oh no.
Oh, dude. And then I don't believe in that. That's what I don't believe in. Jesus Christ. And then I'm going to decide that, you know, this is the direction that I want to head, and therefore I'm going to head that way
Constantly.
consistently. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how books get written. That's how work gets done. That's how
Yeah.
actual progress is made in a positive direction, is you consider the direction and then you dollar cost average that shit. That is the only way that it happens ultimately. I mean, there's such a thing as overnight success, but that's more of an illusion than anything else.
That's like winning the lottery. It doesn't happen terribly often.
Right.
I would also point out,
And it doesn't happen to
it
you.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a deep thinker or not. Like you said, you're not good at, like, you know, or whatever, however you want to say
Too
that.
much.
We're all humans. We all have emotion. We're all gonna second guess ourselves, whether it's investment, like, oh, is it the right time? How much should I invest? Or
Oh, dude, I thought maybe.
or you know, oh, should I work out today? You know, like it's raining or I don't feel so great. If you just commit to, I'm sticking with this particular thing constantly, like this is a part of my day, like you were saying, like a workout now is something that you just feel like you have to do because you've done it so many times at this point, like it's part of your routine.
By the
Dollar
way,
cost averaging is just a
this
hack to
this also saves
forming
the
habit.
shit out of marriages.
Oh, no, true that actually, yeah. Taking it a day at a time.
Yeah. Have I done something nice for my wife today?
Yeah, it's pretty
Have
easy.
have I learned something important today? Right? Have I treated my body right today? Those are all questions that you should be asking yourself on a regular basis, in my opinion. That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing, and it helps me a lot to stay focused. It also helps me with my day job because I get really like scattered at my day job because I have ADHD. Probably. It's undiagnosed, but let's be honest. Pretty sure I got it. And well, okay, I was about to say, I thought that was about to stop right on that edge. So, given that I have ADHD, like I have to figure out how to organize this shit because it
Yeah.
gets crazy. I can't seem to not just live in the moment and do. I'll have crazy thoughts while I'm at work and be like, maybe I should buy a portable lumber mill and start milling live slabs for a living. Like, what? Why am I? No, I don't need to do that. What I actually need to do is commit long term and dollar cost average and get as good as I can at stuff. Right.
Yeah.
That's actually the way to win in life. I didn't realize that until recently. So, 34 and learning.
We're on the journey. No, I mean, I think that's another important part of dollar cost averaging, man. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are. That's the whole point. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from, what age you are, what experience you have. Dollar cost averaging is something that all of us can do. And it's not just savings, health, friendships, really like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I noticed
Okay,
we're getting
so
really
pull me
close
back.
on time. So we need to wrap up
Okay.
relatively soon.
Okay, cool.
But I also want to finish this course because
how close?
I'm having a record-breaking
Oh,
performance.
dude, we've got 14 minutes.
14
we're good.
minutes. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at 46.
Oh, my clock says 12:55. That's weird.
Oh, it's because we started late. Okay, cool. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Nick says. Okay, sweet. Yeah, we can wrap up. Just be quick. Okay, so in the next 5 minutes, also tell me what DCA has to do with identity.
So
we need
it's
to tie it back.
tying it all back together. It's all about taking small steps today to improve. So we're not going to be able to have a flawless identity system in the next year or maybe even the next 10 years because so many different things have to happen between now and then. But you can personally decide to use a Protonmail when you sign up for a service that you might not trust and create a new email account for like different newsletters and stuff, or use two-factor authentication, just take small steps to improve because you're not going to be able to perfectly get your identity fixed where it's perfect overnight, but you can get there if you take small steps regularly, and that's dollar cost averaging.
Nice.
And that throws it back to our sponsors too. If you want an easy way to dollar cost average,
Roundly X. Hell yeah.
Roundly X.
$15 free Bitcoin if you signed up with code Gingerly.
So I think, again, I want to finish this level. So maybe me and you will continue hanging out in Arizona Modern. But I do want to give a big shout out to our lovely producer, Nick, for bearing with us and doing crazy ideas last second because we literally showed up 5 minutes beforehand and we're like, Nick, we're going to play in VR today. And he was so flexible and it was a piece of cake. So Bitcoin Live is where it's at. We appreciate you, Nick. You're amazing.
And they're open to conversations about working with people who want to start their own shows and stuff like that as well through Bitcoin Live DB.
If you find this stream and you're like, hey, I could do a way better job than those bozos, come do a show with Bitcoin Live. That'd be awesome. So thanks to chat for showing up and bearing with us and having a good time in the metaverse. Thanks to Nick. Thanks to the whole Bitcoin Live family for being here in the bear market. It's been great. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, maybe back in the metaverse, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm always looking forward to a good conversation with my buddy Pigeon on Bitcoin Live. So thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll post the final scorecard in the Twitterverse somewhere.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Nick.